So get this, my tinnitus got fixed by a dental procedure.
You're listening to The Dangerous Mind of Mark Yoshimoto Nemkov. No excuses, no BS, no pants.
So like many of you, I suffer from tinnitus, and it's been getting progressively worse over the last 20 years. A lifetime of playing in loud rock bands when I was a kid and listening to loud music and working in professional audio with headphones on my head, screaming into a microphone every day. That hasn't helped. And I had actually grown concerned that my hearing would be so bad that in 10 years' time I wouldn't be able to work. So it was a concern. And then last summer, my tinnitus, I woke up with the tinnitus screaming in my ears. It was like the end of July. And, it's not uncommon for me to wake up and I hear the tinnitus, but this woke me up. And I was like, what? And I was, I was like confused. I was like, what? And I'm like, that's my tinnitus. Holy shit. It had really just gotten significantly louder overnight. No idea why. I go to urgent care because I thought it was an ear infection. They're like, nope, your ear looks fine, no infection. I go to an audiologist. They check my hearing. They're like, well, we don't really notice any structural damage in your ears. Actually, your hearing test's fine. No explanation, right? And that's the thing with tinnitus. They don't really understand why, and they don't understand how to fix it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to learn to live with this. So I've been adjusting to it, and, over time, you just kind of get used to it, but it was still really bad and persistent. Constant. And then about 3 weeks ago, a tooth that I had gotten root canaled in 2019 started to blow up again. And it turns out, after going to a specialist who CAT scanned my entire skull to figure out why, this number 30 molar had actually 4 roots. 4 roots, not 3. Normal molars have 3, and that's why my dentist only root canaled 3 roots. But there was a 4th anomalous root, and it was like kind of kicked over to the side. It was really weird. And that root was actually fractured. It had been fractured from the original root canal. So there was only one choice, extraction. The tooth had to come out. And something kind of odd started to happen. As I was taking antibiotics, my tinnitus started to get a little bit better. So I asked the specialist, I'm like, is there a correlation? And he said, well, given the nerves that run through your face, through your jawline, that attach to your ear, it's entirely possible that the swelling or something could have been pressing up against a nerve, exacerbating your tinnitus. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. So I get the tooth extracted, which is a whole thing unto itself, very unpleasant. And then I wake up the next day, and my tinnitus is basically gone. Gone. It's still there. But there are moments, it's not completely persistent all the time. There are moments when I have to actually, there's complete silence. For the first time in a very long time, I put my hands over my ears and I listen for it, and then I can hear it. But for the most part, my tinnitus is greatly reduced, all because they took this tooth out. Because the tooth was indeed pressing against the nerves in my face in a way that was causing my ears to ring. And now I think that what happened last July when my tinnitus blew up was my body was sending me a bat signal. Because I noticed, like I had mentioned, I thought that I had an ear infection because there was like kind of a weird pain in my ear. And the same thing happened when my tooth blew up a couple of weeks ago. It started to develop like a pain in my ear that went away or diminished when I started taking antibiotics. So that's the story. And even though the tooth extraction was awful, in the end, it's probably well worth it to have a lot of my hearing back. And it was strange because the first morning I'm sitting there having my morning coffee, kind of like still on painkillers and, antibiotics. And I'm like, I can hear like birds chirping in the backyard in a way that I hadn't like really noticed before. It was like a thin veil had been removed off the top of my hearing. So I'm enjoying my new state of hearing and really actually very, very surprised that nobody I had spoken to about my tinnitus had even suggested some kind of dental issue could be causing it, because I don't think they know a whole lot about it. So in the end, it's better, and I'm very happy about that. So I wanted to share this crazy story in case somebody out there has a case of tinnitus that they can't figure out how or why or what. And I don't know. A long time ago, when I got my first root canal, I've had 3. When I got my first root canal, I read on the internet that you shouldn't leave a dead tooth in there because it could be like a time bomb. There still could be like, bacteria or something in there. And it could be like a time bomb for your health. And I told that to my dentist and he was like, yeah, right, whatever. But I'm kind of wondering now if there's some validity to the argument. Anyway. There you go. All right, until next time, this is Mark Yoshimoto Nemkov, fading to black.